to address poverty and increase security and well-being in line with the Sustainable Development Goals. Engage and organized communities are able to identify their priorities. Engage and organized communities are able to assess and use existing resources efficiently and identify creative and contextual solutions. Local solutions and the capacity are especially relevant during time like this, when COVID-19 pandemic has bring travel restriction and make local action especially important. However, there are many practical challenges when governments and organizations that are designed to deliver solutions shift their practices to make room for communities' ownership. This webinar comes in this context, and we can say that the movement for community-led development is needed now, more than ever in the development history. Dear partners, I'll stop there with my welcome address, and I will kindly invite you to introduce yourself in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pascal, for those wise, welcoming thoughts. I'm going to just take a moment to do a little bit of housekeeping. I'm going to share my screen, and you should be able to see my screen. There's some other ideas for what those things represent: a zipper, a toothy mouth, a giraffe walking by a window, tracks, an aerial view of a parking lot, looking out from the bird's eye view of a neighborhood. And then the other one, a bow tie or two birds with their beaks stuck in a berry, an envelope with wrapping, two fish kissing a pearl, and an hourglass or a sand clock. So just trying to get us on a creative mode here, because there's going to be some interactive stuff coming up. I'm Ann Hendricks Jenkins. I'm a senior advisor with the Movement for Community-Led Development, and I spend most of my time facilitating the national chapters of the movement. We're very excited to focus on the national chapters during this call. So what we're going to do today is a quick overview of the movement. We're going to do a lightning round where we hear from people from different chapters and what people are excited about, or what are they learning, or what are they doing in their chapters. We're going to hear a case study from Benin, who has really taken off with their chapter with regards to COVID leadership. And we're going to have breakout groups, and in the breakout groups, we're going to ask you to help us brainstorm about how chapters can envision and take action on gender, on integrated local action, on preparing for the COVID vaccine, not going backwards after COVID, and addressing inclusivity as in the most comprehensive way possible. And then we'll wrap up. So I'm going to give you this little quick overview. A lot of you know that, but we do have some people on the call today who don't, who are new to the movement call. So the idea of the movement is that we can reverse growing inequality and climate change, working towards the Sustainable Development Goals. And we can achieve this and more by rolling out community-led development across the country. And I won't get into the details on what exactly we mean by community-led development today. It's what it seems like it means, and it's also a lot more, but always welcome to talk about that more in another time. So our vision is dignity, voice, and agency for all as the best way to end poverty. Our platform is a social movement platform, which is really doing well for us. And that is the topic in and of itself too. It's pretty much the opposite of a project, or the complement to the project. And so it means that we are all co-creating a way forward and journeying together. And then the tools we use in order to create change are systems-based tools for systemic change, and those are ways to create and manage collective change that will last. Our national chapters are a diverse group of stakeholders from each country. Local, mid-level, and national civil society organizations have really taken the lead with regards to our drivers. And we also have some individuals who are passionate about locally led development in their country, who are come with their strong voices and great ideas. We have wonderful participation from many international NGOs. We have governments involved at all levels, private sector, academia, creatives, think tanks, thought leaders, influencers, and others. So it's really everyone who cares about community-led development is welcome. Our recipe for movement chapters, which we have been sort of co-creating over the last couple years, is we start with connected connectors. Most of you who are on this call, if you're on this call, you're probably a connected connector, so thank you for your amazing connection skills. We work from a new power model, which is a bottom-up power model, which is characterized as mass participation and peer coordination to create change and shift outcomes, and that involves nonstop co-creation. And we work where we try and get everyone involved in a movement to move up what's called the participation scale. So rather than consumers of information or ideas, you move up and you help co-create and co-own, and that's one of the reasons we're excited about the breakout groups today. We have active chapters in many countries, as you can see, and we have chapters that are forming in other countries or in the process of forming. We are always welcoming anyone who wants to start a chapter in their country. We can start a dialogue and see if it's a great fit for you, and we encourage that. We reach thousands of civil society organizations, or else have them be involved. We have a lot of countries participating. We have listservs. If you're interested, please join our listservs. We have a variety of them. You can join them on the website. And then lots of Facebook interactions, especially through the Mexico chapter, tens of thousands even. So I'm going to stop there and stop sharing my screen. And then let me just say too that as we move forward with this new technology, we may have some bumps along the way, but you know, we're all in this together. And also feel free to put comments or questions in the chat. And now we're going to go right to our movement chapter spokespeople. So let me
just a second, Anne,
sure.
were you going to let Kate make her announcement first?
Oh, Kate, sorry, that was too small in my my notes here. Yes, and we're going to get a special announcement from Kate. Thank you so much, John, from the COVID working group. So go ahead, Kate, you're on.
Hi. Hi, everyone. So my name is Kate Larson. I am with One Bilge Partners based in Sierra Leone, and I am co-chairing a working group made up of several dedicated individuals from the movement for community-led development from across the globe. And we are working together to collect information and produce documents and advocacy tools outlining how CLD responses can proactively inform our CLD communities that we work with currently in the current pandemic, as well as in potentially for future responses to future crises. So specifically, we devised our objectives to be looking how communities were affected, have been affected by the pandemic, how the communities have been working to address these effects, and how those responses were effective or not effective. And then with the ultimate goal of seeing how CLD, what role CLD played in those responses and how they differed from non-CLD responses. And so we will be doing a series of interviews using these interview objectives to inform our research. But we were hoping, we do realize that lots of organizations are already done some amount of data collection, surveys, or interviews based on this already. So if you have, if your organization has already done data collection, surveys, interviews that are in line with any of those objectives that I previously outlined, please send it to myself or Gunjan. Hopefully that's okay, Gunjan. I will put my email in the chat, as well as I'll reiterate the interview objectives and our overall purpose again in the chat function. Yeah, thank you very much.
Great, thanks, Kate, and thanks for the work of your group and the other research and evaluation work that goes on at the global level. And everyone who's interested in that is welcome to find out more and get involved. Okay, so now we're going to hear from chapter representatives, and so we are going to give each chapter representative 3 minutes to talk about something that they just want to share, that they're excited about, that they're doing within their chapters. So I'm going to be the very strict timekeeper, the 3-minute timekeeper, the bad cop, and Pascal is the good cop because he's so nice, he probably couldn't be a bad cop. So he's going to introduce our different presenters.
Thank you, Anne. I would like to give the floor to Mexico. Diana and Montse, if you are on the call, please, you have the floor.
Thank you, Pascal. Thank you, everyone. Happy to be here. So from the Mexican chapter, we have this space where we have the opportunity to discuss and act in the time where civil spaces are closing, but we also faced a lot of challenges for building a movement based on CLD principles and to being really active and make where our impact must to be even more relevant than the organizations ourselves. We're trying to, we have these experiences on identifying some particular moments where we know we can act, and then what happens is that we face struggle to keep on working with that besides the actions of each organization itself. So this is a challenge, but also an opportunity for strengthening the umbrella of the CLD movement, for being the environment that we need, to build the real conditions that we need for leveraging our work as organizations, but also as organizations who has the CLD principles in its actions. And something that is really relevant, and maybe something that we might discuss a little bit further in this call or in some other spaces, is that we need to address and to strengthen the GF dimension of the CLD, the gender focus dimension, because it's always around, but we need to strengthen it for really change power dynamics shifts to really address CLD in our actions. And I think that dimension is something really relevant for our work and for the movement, and because of the work that we're doing to change the dynamics of how we understand development. Thank you.
Thank you, Dana. I would like now turn the floor to Zambia with Samuel. Hi, Samuel. Please, you have the floor. Yes.
Thank you very much. I'm Samuel Mutambo from the Hunger Project Zambia. In Zambia, currently what is happening is the chapter was launched last year in 2019. And from the time it was launched, it has been growing. And we recently had an orientation for the movement chapters, civil society organization. The main key issue now here is that we are trying to create a platform where we are going to be discussing the COD ideologies on how we can make the communities we are working in, become sustainable and also get engaged in the activities that lead to their own development. So that at the end of it all, we have a community that is self-reliant. Even once the project has come to an end, the community should continue enjoying that which we have, the institutions or organization have left in the community. So the movement is really creating that platform, and we had the first orientation that took place should be a month ago, and we are aiming to grow and bring more NGOs into the platform, into the chapter, so that we ensure that the communities, we see sustainable development taking place, and also we see that whenever there's the project that we're running in these communities come to an end, the community should be able to continue, on a self-reliance, drive going forward. In short, we are trying to say, let the community drive or lead the processes of development in whichever areas we are working from. And this is the key motivation that is driving the movement for community-led development in Zambia forward. And also we are saying, how do we also find platform to engage the government to see to it that the development that is taking place in each and every part of the corner of the country is sustainable and also is leading to self-reliance. That is the key that we are looking at. So if we, as we are growing right now, if we bring all the communities that we're working with, they understand to say they are supposed to drive the process, then we are going to start recording the sustainable development that we are looking forward to. So we are saying each and every sector, each and every civil society organization within the country, Zambia, should be able to be looking at how sustainable are these activities we are doing in these communities. If we left today, are these communities going to continue enjoying the benefit of these activities we are leaving the community we're doing? Are they participating? Are they driving the process forward? Are they going to be self-reliant? That is the key that we are trying to do. And we are hoping that it will contribute greatly to development of the country, and especially in the rural and urban areas where the communities, we find a number of vulnerable people in the communities. Because if there's a sustainable development, people are leading the process, then we are assured of sustainable development and also self-reliance to all the activity that we'll be doing as civil society organization in Zambia. Thank you.
Thank you, Samuel. Thank you for the presentation. Let's now turn to Liberia. Julius and Jude, would you please have the floor? Jude? Julius? Julius? I think we have a technical issue with our colleagues and partners from Liberia.
No, hello, are you hearing me?
Okay, great. Yeah.
Okay, so like I was saying,
Great, thank you.
We have the chapter already established in Liberia, and we have sort of done a kind of rough work plan, having identified two issues that we want to focus on. We did a scoping analysis of the situation in Liberia. And by reason of that analysis, we found out that Liberia needs to get fully engaged into agriculture. because of several reasons, both political, economic, and the rest of them. So we feel that Liberia should be heavily involved in Liberia in agriculture. And we want to use the Movement for Community-Led Development platform to shape Liberia back into agriculture, because Liberia has not been paying much attention to agriculture. And one of the second issues we have identified is women empowerment, how we can empower a lot of women, because there are several women as a result of the 14 years old war and several things that have happened in Liberia. There are several women that are taking the burden of family burden, and they need more attention. So our concern is to have them trained into income generating activities. So these are the two things we are thinking about moving forward in Liberia. But how can we start it? Our strategy for starting the entire process is to ensure that there are key awareness workshop for both the agriculture sector and both the women capacity building sector. So we intend to have 2 workshops. And so we are out there trying to identify partners who can help us in order to be able to carry on these 2 activities before the close of 2020. Thank you.
Thank you, Julius, for your presentation. Let's now move to Uganda with Marion. Marion, please, you have the floor.
Good evening from Uganda. My name is Nixon, not Marion. I'm supposed to be representing the Alliance this time, Nixon Chapter. I'm the chairperson for the movement in Uganda. I was elected in January. Unfortunately, I've not been part of these meetings, but it's a pleasure meeting all of you. So basically, just a few updates around what has been happening with the movement in Uganda. I don't know for how long I'll be updating, how long the update will be, but basically we already set up as a movement in Uganda. Currently we have a membership of 49 diverse organizations. So what we did in the country, we tried to do a member profile to identify, we believe that the movement, the aspect of community-led development directly engages different areas of our work: health, education, agriculture, climate change. So what we did as an alliance, as a chapter, we did a profiling of members within the country with like-minded vision, this aspect of engaging the community to add a solution. So after that process, so far we have identified 49 diverse organizations implementing activities across different areas of scope of work. But also we set up a committee, a steering committee, which is a membership of 12 organizations, 12 members, I mean, which works across different partners organizations. This committee is chaired by a chairperson who's me, but working across different engaged members of the Alliance. The role of the committee is mainly to provide governance guidance to the chapter. We understand the fact that to be able to move forward, we need to have a structure set up. So that committee has been set up. It is being hosted at the Hunger Project Uganda, where the secretariat sits. But also we put up digital platforms of which enables us to continue engaging. For instance, we have a WhatsApp group for the chapter in Uganda, whereby we keep on engaging. We set up a Facebook page for the chapter, as well as a Twitter page. We believe that we have a lot of work which is happening on the ground there by the communities, but is never brought up. So through these platforms, we're using them to ensure that we amplify the amazing work being done on the grassroots. As part of next steps, what we plan to do this year, we shall be having an AGM at the end of the year. The purpose of the AGM is to present to the Alliance members the future of what we want the chapter to look like. We are thinking how are we able to structure the chapter so as it's registered, it's a bit more official, to ensure that we can also have opportunities that directly come through the chapter to benefit the members. Maybe one key issue that through our secretariat, the Hunger Project, there's a project the chapter will be implementing focused on nutrition in Uganda. So it's a chapter project, but we hope that all the members will benefit at the membership level, but also at the opportunity of being able to integrate community-led initiatives at the grassroots. So basically, that is what has been happening in Uganda, and we hope that this is something that is able to move forward as we progress with the beautiful concept of the movement. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Marion. Thanks you for the presentation.
Apologies, this is Nixon, not Marion.
Nixon, sorry, Nixon.
Yes.
Nixon, thank you for
right.
the presentation. And now let's turn the floor to Nigeria. Dr. Rebecca, would you please have the floor?
Thank you, Pascal, our leader. Thank you, everybody. Nigeria, we have 30 members who are into community-led development. And we are really key into community-led development, as I said, and then we form ourselves and co-create. And the co-creation group brought a lot of things that they want to do. There are some that are into resilience, how to build up the community, and who our target group, and then the target group are women, children, youth, and then in this co-creation, we are working with a lot of organization. And Nigerian chapter is not yet registered, but all our organization, they have been working in the communities and in the Northeast, North Central, in Lagos South, in East, and they have different activities. And then each organization will bring its own expertise. And the co-creation have already, we are working on hunger, zero hunger. We are working on climate change, and we are working on how to build the community so that they will be resilient. And we have a lot of programs that we are aiming to do. The program of building resilient, trauma healing, reintegration, empowerment of women, skill acquisition for men, for youth and widows, because, you know, in our communities, we have a lot of devastated things that happen, crisis. Some of our people are working in the crisis area. So we have to build their resilient. And then we plan to do agriculture. We have a self-help group. We have to do psychological support, because if people are really hot, you have to come together and then build them. And sexual violent, gender-based violent, you know, some are being gang raped, and we are giving legal support. Just last Monday, we were in court. And so is a community-based development, and then we are planning to hold the community to own this very good project, so that because they are the one who are affected, and then we are just there to develop their capacity and then to be resilient. And so we are into camp development, management. We are into disabled people, helping the disabled people, child, and all this. So Nigerian chapter, we are there, and then we want partners so that we can partner with them, especially in this sustainable development goal, so that we can develop our people, and so that they will be whom God created them to be. So this is what I have for Nigerian chapter. So we want to create long-lasting, positive, and community-led participatory change and reformation, so that they will people will improve the survival and livelihood of all this vulnerable group of people. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Dr. Deka. Thanks. And now, Anne, may I leave it there up to you?
Yes, we didn't get to hear from all of our chapters today due to time, but there's future calls, and also please feel free to put things in the chat. Thank you so much for those inspiring stories from around the world. I joined the call from Uganda today about nutrition, and I learned so much. It was so inspirational. So let's, in the interest of time, let me just say a couple things that we also brought up from our planning calls for this call, talking across all the chapters, is that some of the key sort of takeaways of the last couple of years of work is that the social movement new power structure is working really well. It's powerful, and it enables alignment and integrity. Outside stakeholders recognize that we don't just preach community-led development, we do community-led development in the very way that we bring our chapters together. And in today's world, where you like to see a little more alignment there, that goes a long way. And it's the gift that keeps on giving, let's just say. And our structures facilitate peer learning, which is the basis of the best kind of applied practical wisdom and knowledge. Our international structure offers many benefits, and this meeting is one of them. And hearing from all of you from all of your different chapters just shows how much learning across the chapters is possible. And also, some people have said that being affiliated with an international movement opens doors for them. It builds confidence and capacity, and it offers recognition, respect, and understanding of domestic civil society for every country. Externally, it's so important for civil society, domestic civil society especially, to band together, because it's a never-ending threat to that space, and it's so important. COVID realities have shown a spotlight on how truly capable and important and widespread and committed domestic civil society is. And our groups are serving as incubators of community-led development as a concept, as a program, as an ideology, as a policy. What does it look like in all these different places? What does it mean to really build it out in a way that makes sustainable change happen? So I'd just like to, say thank you so much to all our brilliant members and chapter leaders, and encourage everyone to get involved as much as you would like to, because we are full of ideas. As Julius was saying yesterday, we've got the ideas, now we need to figure out how to make them happen. So now I will turn it over to a little bit of a more extended case study of a chapter, which is Benin chapter, and Pascal is going to tell us more about that. So Over to you, Pascal.
Thank you, Anne. Before coming to the update about the involvement of the Benin Movement chapter for the SCLD in the national response to COVID-19, I will mention that the chapter is made up of 33 civil society organizations and 10 platforms, including La Maison de la Société Civile, that is House of Civil Society, which has more than 1,000 affiliated organizations. And this large group is fueled by authentic engagement, community aspiration, high leverage activities, and strategic learning, deep trust to make a reality transformative change to sustain resilience for communities. This is how that translates into chapter involvement in the national response to COVID-19. And the main point I would like to share is about our involvement in developing national strategy documents for COVID-19 response action at the community level. Our inputs and our suggestions as part of the national strategy at the community level to respond to COVID-19 mainly includes a need to include civil society organizations as key stakeholders in the strategy development process and its implementation. Second, a need to put emphasis on developing local capacities, including community and local governments. Third, a need to value women and youth as key driving forces in the national response plan and actions. Moreover, we articulate the national response in 3 phases as input and suggestion. Phase 1, focus on preventive measures to stop the spread of COVID-19 pandemic. And we have co-created with the government a poster about this. Phase 2, focus on lifestyle, including good nutrition, physical exercises, adequate sleep, and stress management. This phase also includes phase 1, and the purpose of phase 2 is to support the immune system of the community members. And phase 3, at this phase, community cope with the pandemic. Phase 3 also involves phase 1 and phase 2, and this corresponds to the moment when all stakeholders return to a new normalcy trend towards sustainable development goals. We also draw attention on the need to value the cooperation between government, civil society, and private sector association to implement on a sustainable basis any development action, including the response to COVID-19. What was the conclusion and how the steering committee reacted to all that input in the document that is now being circulated? The strategy document is currently being circulated, and we notice that the civil society is included in the strategy as key stakeholders to support action at the community level, but not at the strategy development level. And our MCLD chapter was an exception to give input on the strategy development document along with the World Health Organization, UNICEF, UNFPA, and USAID during a Zoom meeting organized by the Ministry of Health on August 4th this year. The invitation letter is there. This is an example to show to which extent our collective voice in the MCLD chapter could be heard and make impact. We have mentioned the need to put emphasis on developing local capacities, including communities and local governments, and this has been fully taken into account in the strategy. Third, the focus on the lifestyle as suggested by the Benin chapter for the SCLD has not been included in the national strategy document. Yet, a poster reflecting on this has been approved and is now being circulated. An opportunity for the Benin chapter to collaborate with local governments about responding to COVID-19 comes with the financial resources recently allocated to them, to local governments, I mean, by the national government. The Benin CLD chapter is making available the poster developed in total 3 to support the commune of Benin in the action to be implemented. And the Ministry of Decentralization and Local Governance and the National Association of the Commune of Benin are fully aligned for the poster to support the commune endeavor so that community fully take advantage of them. In total, the involvement of the Benin CLD chapter in the national response to COVID-19 can be summarized in the following. 1, input for national response strategy document at the community level, improving and adapting the poster edited by the government earlier and related to the preventive measures. 3, co-creating the lifestyles poster with the pandemic COVID-19 National Steering Committee, and co-creating a poster to draw attention to mask wearing everywhere and anytime, whether we are with colleagues, relatives, or family members. Support to commune in the endeavor to improve the response to COVID-19 at the community level. This is being planned. And joint involvement of key stakeholders needed for sustainability and application to response action against COVID-19. That is to say, we have the case here where civil society work with the government and private sector to stop COVID-19. And one case I will mention related to private sector is we have an university related to many other private university who has been already involved and who is offering to print out 1,000 copy of the poster available to be used at the university level as well as with relatives. I will stop there, and we have the recognition from the Ministry of Health, who has issued a letter of recommendation to support us in our request for partnership with other agencies, mainly any other funding agencies. Thank you. Those posters can be seen. The letter of recommendation can be seen as well. Here, please look at. Yes. We have the first one with yellow at the beginning, pour éviter la progression. That is one poster created by the government, and we have requested as a CLD chapter to update it and to improve some aspect of it. And it is now co-creation from our chapter and the government and the Maison de la Société Civile, who has the most part of our chapter members. The second is putting emphasis on the lifestyle, good nutrition, physical exercises, stress, avoiding stress, and adequate sleep. And the third one you can see is putting emphasis on the need to wear masks everywhere, wherever we are with colleagues, relatives, and so on. And those posters are now being made available for the commune who will use them for the strategy with the local communities, and will be advising and supporting this process. Thank you. And those posters we have been, we met with the Ministry of Decentralization for another initiative, and we seize that opportunity to present the poster, and the minister recommended that we offer the poster to support the effort of the commune in the action at the community level. And you can see the poster just below is one we have just yesterday. No, the picture we have yesterday with our chapter members. They are really committed to support the endeavor of the commune with the posters you are seeing there, and to support the commune in the effort to stop COVID-19 in Benin. Thank you, and thank you all. I will be available for any question. That is just a brief summary. Thank you. You can see the letter of recommendation there, who has been issued by the Ministry of Health, who is leading the steering committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Pascal. If anyone has a question or a comment, they are welcome to make it. As someone who's been following this as it's been unfolding, a couple things that really stand out to me is, one is that way back when COVID first hit, and 80% of the global discussion was about hand washing, this chapter came up with the idea about immunity and staying strong for the duration. So they knew it was going to take a long time, and that it was important to stay strong. And just today, the presentation during the Uganda nutrition meeting, the inspirational woman said, fighting COVID-19 starts inside the body with a strong and healthy body. And that's the most powerful way to begin to fight COVID-19. So I really just admire the wisdom that emanated in these posters. And then the posters and the recommendation are like proxies for this huge thing that is unfolding with all these partnerships and these developments. And now it's gotten to the point where this is going to go affect across every commune in the country of 12 million people. So the movement for community-led development in Benin is taking action that is helping 12 million people in Benin get the best guidance possible from their own country people as to how to stay strong and stay together during this crisis. So it's really quite an unbelievable story, and thank you so much for sharing it. Does anyone have a question or a comment? I see there's comments in the chat, so thank you for those. And I think we're going to continue to follow how this folds out, because Pascal, I didn't even tell you, there's lots of other aspects to the story involving fast-growing vegetables and other potential partners and all kinds of people that really is super inspirational. Okay, so thank you, everybody.
Question, please.
Oh, please, go ahead.
A concern. To Pascal, is it possible, being the West African regional coordinator for the MCLD, and Benin chapter seems to be ahead of all of the chapters in West Africa and in most parts of the world, if I can speak so, is it possible for him to continue to give us the roadmap as to how they manage to achieve such success on a timely basis?
Pascal, would you like to?
Thank you, Julius. Okay, that will be, I will respond very shortly, but we could have time to share more about how we step there. The first thing was that we request to meet with the Ministry of Health to let him know that we exist as a driving forces with more than 1,000 civil society organizations. And then the Minister of Health was not available himself, but he recommended that we met with the General Secretary of the Minister, Dr. Imoru. And we went there for the meeting. And first, we acknowledge and we appreciate the effort of the government so far. What has been put in places to handle the COVID-19 in terms of quarantine, to take in charge, to take into account those who are affected. We acknowledge and we recognize all this and we appreciate it. But we mentioned that something is missing in the pieces. That was intervention at the community level. And we mentioned that we are available to support this. And the request that we come back with our proposal. The first idea we have is to develop a project. And we analyze and we find that it was a long process. They would like to be partner with our chapter in developing that proposal. And it was going very slowly. When we are available, they are not. And we see that if we move through this, we will not achieve our objective. And we shift. Coming now saying what will be the initiative that could interest the ministry at this time. And we decide to go with posters. And first, we criticize, not we criticize, we review, we rethink the poster developed by the government and we say we need to improve it. And they say, if we want to improve it and update, go and come with the new version. We did this. And along with this, we come saying COVID-19, too much attention. We need to step further. So that's the idea of good nutrition, physical exercises, adequate sleep, stress management poster that you have seen earlier. And then, along with this, we suggest that we manage the crisis in 3 phases. First, that was the first time, all attention on COVID-19. Second phase, all attention on COVID-19, but we open with some lifestyle practices, good nutrition, as I mentioned, and all that's you know. And the third one, we know we can see in our environment with colleagues when we move outside that people say, okay, it's like we are not now in the lockdown moment and people don't wear masks. We come again to draw attention on the mask wearing. And all those, they see that it's very helpful. And we have been invited, as I mentioned, to be part of the team to develop the national strategy to respond to COVID-19 at the community level. And yes, that's how it went. And what we do, we leverage effort and knowledge and connection through our MCLD chapter. And that work and that support the effort as well. Julius, I'll be available to share more. And that's what I can say right now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pascal. Thank you very much. Your response was educative.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Great. I think that at some point we should have like a full hour to just talk about this case and how it's played out, because I think there's so many nuances there that we could all learn from. And thank you for being a case study. The Benin chapter was started a little earlier than some other chapters, so don't be discouraged, because they've had a little more time to pull themselves together and develop their unified identity and figure out how they want to work together. So they are our case studies, so we can learn and apply those lessons to the other chapters. Thank you so much. I'm going to move on to the breakout rooms. So let me give you a little guidance. So we're going to go in 5 breakout rooms and talk about this with regards to the national chapters. Breakout room number 1, we know gender is important, but we struggle to make it real. What meaningful ways could our national movement chapters address gender internally, externally, or both? And by the way, if you want to, you can take a photo of this screen or a screenshot to use when you're in the breakout rooms, but we're hoping there's going to be someone in all the breakout rooms that has these questions. The second one, the World Health Organization says the key to getting through the pandemic is integrated local action. How might our national movement chapters foster integrated local action to address COVID? Number 3, there are already concerns about the COVID vaccine and how it will be distributed when it comes out. What are the best and worst case scenarios, and what can or should the national movement chapters do to prepare for this? Number 4, with foreign staff evacuated and international programs disrupted, domestic civil society continues to do their work, adjusting for COVID, and are now getting more recognition. There are also more starved for resources than ever. How can national movement chapters leverage this time to create a new future for domestic civil society and community-led development in every country? And then the last question is inclusivity is a moral imperative of community-led development, but some inclusivity is easier than others. Who is most likely to get left out, and how can national movement chapters ensure that inclusivity is truly inclusive? So I'm going to stop there, and we are going to go to the breakout rooms. You will have an option to push a button, and you will automatically be assigned to a breakout room. In that room, you can introduce yourselves, you can make sure that somebody is taking notes, and you'll have 20 minutes to have a quick conversation, or about 16 minutes to have a conversation to address your question. So let me go ahead and open all rooms. For some reason it's not going. Gunjan, I wonder if you have any, I don't see, John, do you see the breakout rooms option on your thing?
No.
Look at the extras options that you have. So
well, I'm in the breakout room thing and it says add a room, but it doesn't say open all rooms. Oh, well,
there should be a launch rooms button.
Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and assign a bunch of people. I think I have to assign people. So you're getting randomly assigned. Start thinking about your questions. And you're going to be in a room with people whose names start with the same letter of the alphabet as you. So this will just take a moment. And almost done. Okay, here we go. Open all rooms. So there you go. You should be seeing the option to join the room. Are you seeing that?
Yep, I
Okay,
see
good.
it. So
Good.
I'm now in 4 instead of 5.
Sorry, I had to change. You're going to be in a different room. So
Okay.
not the rooms that we expected, right?
Okay.
Okay.
Join now.
So, yes, here we are. Okay, so this is our room. This is our special room, I think. Let me see. I might need to check some other rooms while we're doing this. But we are. Which room are we? We are room number.
Okay, how many people in a room?
5 to 10, 4 to 10,
Oh.
I guess. Yes.
So the one that I'm in is, I think my room now is Kanganga, Gertrude, Jacqueline.
Yes.
That's
Okay.
my room.
I'm in the same room
'Cause-
with you. I think we're in room number 5. So-
okay, it's not showing the room number, but
No, I know it's not. People are
but the
getting.
people are reducing.
Which
Now
one
we're
am
down
I?
to 8.
Yeah. Let me broadcast a message to all. If you are not sure of your room, pick a question yourself. Okay. So Jacqueline, hi, it's nice to see you here, and Arthur, Jean-Pierre, Liseli, Montserrat, Montse, Dr. Saidu, and Techno Kaman. What is your first name? It says Techno Kaman. Okay, so the question that we're going to address is how to be inclusive. And what does inclusivity mean from a point of view of community-led development? And let's go around and introduce ourselves quickly. Arthur, would you like to go first? Well, maybe the people are getting assigned to the rooms, assigned to 5.
Anne?
Yes, can you hear me?
Hi, sorry. Yes, you had put me into a group, but then I, by mistake, logged out. Are you able to put me back into a group with the
Which
last
one were
name?
you in? Yeah.
Whichever one that you had with N.
I think you were in, okay, yeah. Let me see if I can. I'm mastering this. Okay, move to
Yeah, no worries.
1. Okay, see if that works.
Okay. Just waiting for the notification. Huh, hasn't come through. Because normally it says that you just click on it and join the room.
I'm not sure why, because I can see you.
Yeah.
Move to break room 1.
Okay. No, hold on a second. Let me see here. Join breakout room. All right, here we go. All right, I'm going. Bye.
Okay, bye. Dr. Saidu, can you hear me? Yes, okay, good. I can't hear you. I think some of us have ended up in this room. I'm not sure how this works, but But I wanted to talk a little bit about, oh, yes, now I'll be able to hear you. Montse, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, good. And Dr. Saidu, let's start with you, and I'll ask you a simple question with regards to community-led development being inclusive, meaning trying to include all members of the community. What are your thoughts about how to make sure that everybody is included or that nobody gets left out?
Right. In every beginning of beginning, you'll face some difficulties in the beginning, but when the movement is ahead, you find some, correction and lapses to correct it. But with the group, some will come with some idea that we did not think about it because we have, various problems. Since we are not living in the same country, the same society, the same area. So our grouping is advantage in grouping in the first movement so that we can type idea and develop on it. Right.
Yes.
That's my opinion.
Yes, thank you so much. Very interesting. Techno Camon, can you hear me? Can you hear? Maybe not. Montse, what about you? Can you hear? I think some of the people haven't pushed their join button. James Castle, can you hear?
Hi, yes, I can.
Oh, hi, James. How are you? Nice to meet you.
Doing very well. Yeah, pleasure to meet you as well.
Great. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure thing. So I'm James Castle. I'm standing in today for Kate Scuria. I work with A Glimmer of Hope. We do work in rural Ethiopia, and a part of our model is, of course, really involving the community in our interventions. So our work kind of has the community-led aspect baked right in, and our theory of change in particular touches in specifically on two of the points that you talked about, which is women empowerment and just that whole idea of really having resilience and sustainability led by the community, having true ownership and understanding and a expressed need for the interventions that we are performing on the ground.
Wow, that's great. Yes, I'm familiar with your organization. We really value your participation in the movement. So with regards to how you work with communities, I don't know how well you know your organization's programming sort of on a nuts and bolts level. How do you try and ensure that nobody is being left out?
That's a really good question. And I think the way that we do that, and I'll try to speak to it to the best of my ability. Of course, Kate is the one that really holds all the institutional knowledge when it comes to our programmatic activities. But, I would say when we are going about designing a program area, I think we're really intentional at the beginning about really assessing what areas within our program, in the regions that we work, what program areas are in the greatest need, and what are the communities that are the most underserved, where we can have the greatest impact with the particular modalities that we implement. So we really, I think, take an intentional approach to trying to really understand by way of surveys and assessments of really what is the lay of the land, what is the status quo, and where are the gaps, and are we equipped to really drive change by working with those communities? And are the communities in turn willing to, really be a part of that, take ownership, and able to use the planned interventions in a long-term sustainable manner?
Wow. Yeah, great. So it's really like starting early at the beginning to try and truly understand the context so that you can figure that out
right,
with
yep.
regards to inclusion. Yeah, nice. Very interesting. So Liseli or Techno, I think you can't quite hear us yet, or we can't hear you. So Dr. Saidu, I'll offer you another question if you would like to answer another question. Are there certain groups in the communities that you know in Nigeria that are most likely to get left out? Who gets left out in the communities in Nigeria? Who's in danger of being left out or not included? What kind of people?
Hello.
Yes.
Again.
Okay, in Nigeria, when you're working with the communities, who are the people who get the most left out? Who are the people that are not included? And why are they not included?
You know, really in the rural area, there's some are left out because the awareness is not enough to reach them enough. So we need to, you know, expel the awareness to them. So we feel that those people that they are not aware of the program and little or no, they have belief on this really happening about COVID-19 and so on, except if the awareness has reached them so that they may not left out. No matter you want to cope them in, if they are not aware of the rural, they will be left out definitely, the rural area.
Mm-hmm. And so, so what I'm hearing you say is that the rural area, the people are left out for obvious reasons because they're harder to reach. And one of the things that happens is they don't get the information they need. The information does not reach them. And as we have learned during COVID, information is more important than ever. Information about what is happening and how to protect yourself. And also information that is trustworthy and is not going to make people scared or use disinformation or misinformation. So yes, thank you so much for that, Dr. Saidu. So geography and rural people are often among the most left out. And so we really need to figure out how to keep them in. I wonder, James, if there's any other thoughts you have. We're gonna close the rooms in a minute and go back to the group.
Well, I suppose since I believe my group or the room that I was in was that question about the COVID vaccine and the ways that it's going to be distributed. I suppose what was the question for this breakout room, since I don't see a topic at the top?
Yeah, sorry, this was the inclusivity group. So this is because we need to make sure that nobody is left out. One of the main things about community-led development is to give voice to every single person. And in every community, there are groups that are not welcome, or they're forgotten, or they're left out in some way or another.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But anyway, I think we have people starting to come back, so we will continue this conversation over the long run.
Perfect. Well, thank you.
Thanks, James. Good to meet you.
Great to meet you as well.
Okay, we're all back.
All right, welcome back, everyone. I am still on the learning curve with the breakout groups, but anyway, most of us ended up in groups, so that's a good thing. So in the few minutes that we have left, I wondered if there are people who are ready to report back on behalf of their group. If you can speak up and tell us what you talked about, we'd like to hear about the different groups.
Group 3 is ready.
All right.
So
good facilitation, John. Go ahead.
Yes, the Jays were together with Pascal in group 3 to look at this issue of vaccine distribution. The one critical advocacy issue that John Kaganga recommended is that we all start now to advocate that this must be for free. These vaccinations, if they cost a lot of money, they're not going to go anywhere in our countries. We need to identify the networks, first among ourselves in the members, and then with other networks such as journalists, midwifery, and nurses networks. We need to begin to develop those relationships. And then we really need to meet on this subject with the ministries of health, of social development, hopefully the president's offices, to really take seriously, as Julia said, we have a lot of undoing to do, of mistrust in the communities, mistrust in information. So we need to undo that mistrust and really network with the community leaders in every community to lay the groundwork for a successful surge in advocacy and communication.
And if group 4 will present, because I have a meeting with USID, please. So group 4, Mariam, please, if you agree, Anne.
Yes, please, go.
Okay.
In our group 4, we're looking at how do you leverage and building the domestic civil society.
Oh, sorry, we're not able to hear you. Please get really close to your microphone. Your voice is not coming through.
Are you able to hear me now?
Barely. Could you type it, Miriam, perhaps in the chat?
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay, Mariam.
Okay.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Sorry, we really just can't hear you. Okay, this will be extra efficient because one person will be typing.
Basically, what we discuss is she will type it, but in summary, we have the idea of like fundraising, so that either through the chapter or through somewhere, so that we can organize funds locally to help people. Since we don't have all this, because our group is group 4 with foreign staff excavated and international program disrupted, how can we do? So we will have to raise funds. And also we continue with our work. Most of us gave what we are doing in helping in COVID, just like Pascal do. We did mass advocacy, providing nutrition, and all this. So we should continue even without all this. And we do contact tracing. So this is basically what we will continue to do. So to fundraising, and then we will not be discouraged to also contact the international community to support us, as we are here now. If we have donor agency, so we are waiting for donations so that we will carry on with our activities. And UN to connect, MCLD to connect us with the UN so that we can get the funds for sustainable development goals, so that we will keep on developing even during this COVID. Thank you. And I have to go now to meet. I have scheduled a meeting, but I enjoy you all. And tomorrow is my 60th birthday, so I thank God for
Happy
birthday, Rebecca.
Happy birthday. Nice. Oh my gosh, I hope you have a good one.
Thank you.
Oh,
So,
okay.
bye-bye.
We'll let you
Thank
go.
you.
Have a good meeting. Bye-bye. Thank you so much.
Yes, bye. Thank you.
Okay, what
Okay.
haven't we heard from?
Hello, Annie.
Yes, Samuel, go ahead.
Thank you. Our group, we were looking at inclusiveness and which type of groups are likely to be left out. So first and foremost, we looked at the people living with a disability. They are likely to be left out because of various reasons. And one of the reasons is that, you know, sometimes it's very difficult to design messages to such people like the visual impaired people, the deaf people. You know, it's difficult sometimes to design messages that can reach them. A system that you can use to sensitize the community. So those are the ones who are likely to be left out. Now we are saying, what can the movement chapter do to bridge that gap? So we are saying that these same people living with disabilities, they have associations. The associations now, the movement chapters should engage the associations so that they are able to understand how to manage, how to reach out, how to bring the, you know, all the methods that they use to reach out to these people who are disabled, so that when there's a message that is happening or anything that is happening within the community, they should not be left out. So the chapters should be able to reach out to the associations who are looking at the issues of disability. Then that will mean that the disabled people will not be left out, will also be included in the process. The other, you know, class we looked at, it's people who are living in the far-fetched rural areas, because usually it's very difficult to reach in such areas, and there are some areas where it's only those who have got a certain type of vehicles can reach. So we are saying, how can the chapter make sure that at least all the such people in such rural communities are reached out to? So we are saying we have to devise a system and also try to form some groupings within the community so that their representative can be part of the chapter, and then we can be messaging information through the leadership, and that leadership now to the community, which are very far from maybe towns. The other class we talked about was there are some marginalized groupings, like due to, you know, political divide, like tribes. There are certain tribes, because of the political system, they are left out, they are not reached out to. So we are saying the chapter should be able to assess, to analyze and analyze the country. Sorry?
Yes.
Yeah,
that's okay, just finish up so we have time for the others.
Okay, to assess, analyze the situation and see which marginalized group is found in a particular country, and how best can the chapter reach out to, so they identify and be able to find ways of connecting to them. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You guys really covered a lot in your time. Is there any other group that hasn't reported out yet that would like to report out?
Yes.
I'll let them go first.
Okay, go ahead, Dr. Juliana.
Okay, thank you very much. This is group 2. I don't know whether my colleague can project the board that we wrote on, because I couldn't take a picture when we finished. We timed out before I could. So our question was, the World Health Organization says that the key to getting through the pandemic is integrated local action. How might our national movement chapter foster integrated local action to address this? So I looked at the Kenya chapter, where they integrated the Ministry of Health, a lot of the banking sector, all the stakeholders were involved, whether it was in the hospitality, the tourism industry, the trade. Everybody came together, corporates came together, and they contributed in cash or in kind. So what we did in Kenya was that the effort was focused on fundraising. So we even had the different parastatals fundraising in order to fight the pandemic. So in this integration, how does the chapter come in? Number one, we said that it would be a cross-learning between chapters. So we look at what each chapter is doing in their country-specific dynamics, and we borrow from that. So we found that very important because everybody has a different way of doing things. And so if you borrow a leaf from here and there, you're able to look at how best to run your own chapter in your country. And then which will then be integrated in the bigger picture, which is now the global chapter. And then from there, that's how the chapter is able to contribute, because once you pick ideas from each country and you put them together, then you're able to have a concrete and solid solution for this integration. And the second one is to create awareness campaigns with the movement. You know, each chapter does campaigns in their respective country so that you voice out, you speak out, you mobilize, and you're able to get your voice heard. The third one was to play the coordination role, which is needed. I mean, to ensure that everybody is reached, which I looked at it as an integrated communication channel. That means it streams from the global chapter, it comes to the national chapter, each chapter, and then in the national chapter, you trigger it until the community, it reaches the community. That's very vital because information is not needed just at the top, it's also needed at the bottom of the pyramid. And then the fourth aspect and point that we brought forth is we learn from the diversity of what we share within the movement and from the experts we have on board, because you've got a very rich board expert that is with us. And the fifth one was what we looked at is, which was already been mentioned, I think, by the second group, is resource mobilization, whether it is in cash or in kind. You mobilize, whether we do it as a movement or we do it respectively, then we are able to end up helping each other. And the last point would be then how to coordinate and all, so that it's just not paper, it's action. So each person takes action in their own country to realize this integration. Thank you.
Wow, great. What a fast and thorough debrief. Awesome. Thank you so much, that group, and for the notes. Okay, Izzy, are you the last group?
Yeah, me and Diana were actually it was just us two. I think we had the same question as the previous group, so something might have gotten mixed up in the breakout room. But we talked about a lot of the same things, but I'll just quickly debrief what we were discussing. So we were talking about the Mexico chapter, and a lot of what Diana was saying was ensuring that at the local level, COVID response is reached through regional languages. So ensuring that communities that don't speak Spanish are being told the right information and their own language, just getting that information out there. And also organizing locally when the government response may not be the best option for that local community, and talking with community partners and different organizations to ensure that the local response is what's best for them, even if that may not be what the local government or the federal government recommends. And then we discussed a lot of the same things, but I know we're pressed for time. So those are just the general overviews.
Great, thank you so much, Izzy. And if you don't mind typing those up, you can email them to me for the notes. And also everybody who presented, although that one group already took notes, please feel free to email me if there's any additional notes you would like to add. And we are right at time, so let's go ahead and say goodbye. Pascal, would you want to sign us off?
Thank you, Anne. Thank you all. I would like to thank you all who have devoted your time for this webinar. It was really an awesome opportunity to discuss very openly about the movement for community-led development with you, and to take note of your insight, your ideas, particularly through the various groups where we discuss very different topics. Be ensured that your idea, your input, your remarks will be contributing to enhance the transformative change particularly by this time of COVID-19 pandemic, the pandemic of COVID-19. In partnership, thank you all. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Pascal. We'll leave the line open for a couple minutes. Sometimes people like to stay and just chit chat afterwards. So you're welcome to stay if you would like to chit chat about anything under the sun or what we've already been talking about. But otherwise, we thank everybody for coming and for your great contributions and for all the chapters, for everything that you do. You're really like the future of the world. We're depending on you, so keep it up, keep up the great work. Yeah, okay, open the cameras. Monse says open the cameras. Open your cameras if you can, and we'll take a picture. That's such a cute idea. All right, let's see, get my snipping tool ready. Okay, do we have the cameras open? All right, so go ahead and wave. Yay! Oh, this is my new favorite thing. All right, I got it. I got you all for eternity. And if you need an alibi, I have you can use an alibi too. So great. Okay, so is anyone who's just wants to stick around and say hi, is there anything special on your mind? Anything exciting to share? Monse, I would like to say to you, thank you for the idea about the vaccine planning ahead. That was from you, from the planning call. And at first I was like, vaccine, like, oh, that's like, you know, forever and a day away. And then of course, like as soon as you think about it, you think now is the time, right? To start setting up the trust and the idea of it being free, which is so important. And also the idea that if it's going to be limited and it's going to have to be, you know, people on the list who gets it first, that should be decided before before the day hits, right? Exactly. Oh, Deanna, go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's because about the vaccine, we already have one general call about the vaccines, and actually Mario Rivera, who's also in the call, was part of that call with some other, with another group of another network of organizations, and we're trying to figure out how to land that for really make sure that the vaccine, that people have information about the vaccines, and not only the vaccine, but also about their right to health, and how to make sure that we have information and they have information for taking decisions and not decide for them at the same time that we have we have in mind that what is there is the right to health and and people's welfare. So that's something that we're going to open, and I don't know if someone wants to add something into that.
Yeah, it's human rights approach. Human rights approach only. You are pro-vaccine or not vaccines, it's the human right approach for the health.
Yeah.
So it's a big debate right now.
Yes, it's true, because there was a big debate that it should be administered in Africa, but then we argued that the disease didn't even start from here, it started from China. So there was that controversy. And then every country, Russia, Germany, Kenya, Tanzania, Madagascar, everybody started having a cure. So then Madagascar said theirs is the best. Then it was found that it has side effects. Then Russia says they have the best, and England says they have. So everybody has their vaccine. So then what I would then suggest is everybody then administers their vaccine in their own country rather than to try and sell it to another country. So if you have invented one, you just, and it has to be willing, not mandatory, I think. Because we've seen a lot of vaccines, especially in the United States, where children develop autism and a lot of other cerebral diseases once they get vaccinated when they're young. So I think this kind of a vaccine, especially for a virus that is mutating every other season and you can't really get a hold of it, because of its genetic formation and how it just keeps evolving, then each country, if you believe that your vaccine is good, then just vaccinate those who are willing to take it. It shouldn't be mandatory. And then again, now we need to look at it on the global perspective, because then some countries will start to say that if you are not vaccinated, you cannot go and come into our countries, and that becomes an impediment. But I haven't seen that yet. But that then will kill global tourism completely. So I think the question of the vaccine is who wants it, because I saw quite an interesting comment somewhere saying that we can only—
Can I stop you for 1 second though?
Yeah, to the poor. Yeah, but I don't think that's right. I think everybody should be willing to either take it or not take it.
Yes, and it is obviously a super complicated issue, and there's a lot of different perspectives on there. I have done extensive reading through my professional work, and the connection between vaccines and autism has been thoroughly disproved. And so I think it's important to work from what the data says about that, because that is a very controversial thing. But it's also a perfect example that I've read like books on it, and all the research, the original research that said that it happened was done by a not a trustworthy person who faked the data, and it wasn't even very good data anyway. And that is all he has recounted that. And then there's been studies all over Europe, et cetera, where they've looked at autism rates before and after people get vaccinated, et cetera. And the current, World Health Organization scientific literature does not endorse the link between vaccines and autism. I know that different people have different beliefs, but in this crazy time, I think that it's good to stick with what World Health Organization says, at least in these international calls. Sorry for that, but it's really a hot topic in the United States. So does anyone else want to say anything about, so that also goes to show why vaccine conversations are so complex, because as soon as you start talking about vaccines, there's the issue of who should get them, what the science says, what people believe or don't believe with regards to the efficacy of them. And the President of the United States has done a terrible job of building anybody's confidence in whether or not you can trust vaccines or what information is correct. So I would like to say, as an American, I apologize for that.
What does Dr. Fauci have to say about it?
Dr. Fauci, I know he says there is no link between autism and vaccines. So yes, he is somebody to turn to, but poor he is really also suppressed from, I think, saying what he would say. So this is a perfect example of why we all need to be ready to manage conversations that involve information from different sources about these critical issues, and how this vaccine thing can just blow up because it's not even available yet and it's already blown up, right?
It's already a big debate.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
I'm very interested. We've been trying for some time to make sure that we get someone from WHO actually on our calls. And so I'm hoping to get that organized soon, because they recognize the importance of community mobilization. And however, I think they've been so crazy busy, they've not been paying sufficient attention to our movement. So from the global side, I really do think it's important for us to have a direct link with WHO. Some of you have good links with WHO in your countries. Please let me know that. But I do think, particularly as we head into, as Anne said, there have been leaders who have really tried to undermine international cooperation, undermine WHO. And if we're going to all get through this together, we need a good WHO for us to work with. So I'll continue to push on my end. Any of you who have good WHO contacts, please help us with this, because we need a good, strong, and WHO that both listens and can present clear, simple messaging for all of us to use that has real authority and evidence behind it.
Also, to that point, John, I was in a meeting once recently with David Zimbaro, who also made the same point that Pat is making, is that between the politicians and the commercial interests who are also spreading misinformation about the possibility of vaccines or which vaccines are good, there's a lot of very high level bad information out there that is so hard to trust. So I do think that WHO, at least the people they have, you know, David Nabarro and others, I myself, I trust them because, you know, we all decide who we can trust, and I've decided I can trust them. And I think it's important that we all do work together to figure out who we decide we can trust or not trust. I mean, Juliana mentioned earlier, there's been a lot of claims that there's already vaccines out there that work, and probably none of them are true, or if they are true, they don't have enough information yet to make the claim credibly. Vaccines, my God. All right, what other comments do people have or hot topics?
Well, I do think we should also wrap it up soon. Anne.
Oh yes, we're at 15 minutes. We kept it open for 15 extra minutes. And then, you know, I will say, I guess Daisy's not here anymore, but John Kanganga is here. The woman who gave the nutrition presentation today for the Uganda chapter about integrated community-led development, sort of thinking on nutrition as a holistic human right, to your point, Montse, we should get her on a global call because she was really compelling as well. What do you think, John? Do you think that's, oh, and John, your hand is up too. Are you, would you like to make a comment?
Okay.
And then we'll wrap.
What I would like just to say, everything has been said, but this is my first time to join this global movement, and I've been so inspired and very interested, and I've learned a lot, and I promise, I pledge that I will be attending, and I will also contribute to this wonderful movement. Thank you so much for organizing such a wonderful global movement. I've liked it so much. Thank you.
Wow. Well, we've loved having you here. We hope to be in lots more calls with you in the future and to hear more about your thoughts and your chapter's progress. Any other comments before we wrap up?
Hello, Anne. Marion.
Yes, Marion, we can hear you.
I've been linking up with Agnes. We can have a conversation on the next call, what the topic is, and can come in and give a presentation.
Yeah, it's hard to hear you.
You'll have to write us. We could not hear you at all.
Sorry, Marion. Like we have a muffle between you and us.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Go ahead. Yes, okay. Well, let's wrap up. Thank you so much, each and every one of you, for being here and for your thoughts and for all the amazing things that you do for community-led development. And we will keep doing all kinds of good things. And if you have any ideas or things that you would like to propose for the next topics or for other webinars, keep in touch. All right. And thank you, Pascal, for your amazing moderating. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you, Anne. Bye-bye.
So good to see you. I'm copying all the notes. Bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.
And it's Pat.
Yes.
You know, I sat on a call last month in August on the COVID working group, and they actually were funding some of the Nigerian, I mean, all the African participants with a small stipend. And I don't know if that's even possible for the movement to consider, but I thought that was really powerful in sort of allowing people in those countries to have a voice, because data for your phone is very expensive and people are having to choose between buy food and buy data.
Yes, 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 yes. Thank you so much. I have made a note of that, and I think it's really important because talk about inclusion, right?
Right.
I know that Julius has had to up his internet connection right in the middle of a call, and I know that Jude and many others are using their own calling costs to join all these calls. So thank you for that.
They had a standing amount, and
Yeah.
I can send you the email that they sent me. I didn't apply for any, but I think it's a really important thing to consider. Like maybe so many per chapter. I don't know, but at least to get some people on.
Yeah, will you send me the email? That would be great.
I will. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, so I need to go because I'm hearing from John that we need to do a quick call. But I hate to say goodbye to you guys because it's my favorite part of the day is talking to everybody. So I'll say goodbye for real this time, and that's, I think, going to end the call.